It's degen season and we are eating. From selling Ethereum right off of 2K to 1750, to buying Goblin Girls at 0.03 ETH, to buying Baby Goblins at 0.1 ETH, it is Goblin Mania and derivatives are absolutely pumping. But more importantly, welcome back to the channel. I have an exciting and special guest, a fellow six-figure NFT trader known as Liam. So let's bring Liam onto the channel and let's dive right in. All right, LiamDNFT, welcome to the channel. Thank you for being here. If you want to quickly introduce yourself, talk about your YouTube channel and your Twitter account.
Yeah, my name's Liam. My Twitter handle and YouTube is LiamDNFT. I chose that name because my name's Liam Donnelly, and so LiamDNFT kind of rhymes. I don't know. I just I just chose it. I chuck a bunch of my most helpful lessons and learnings and advice on my YouTube channel and on my Twitter, and yeah, people seem to like it. I get a lot of questions asked in my DMs like every day, and so on my YouTube channel I try and answer those questions and try and provide some support and education for people on this NFT journey.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, it's totally cool. I just found you like a day ago on Twitter. I just obviously talked to you today for the first time, popped on your YouTube channel, which is really new, but it's doing well. And I really like the content that you're making. So I just wanted to start off by seeing like what made you even hop into the Web3 NFT space? What made you start wanting to trade e-liquid JPEGs? And what were you doing before, and was it relevant to like what you're doing now?
Yeah, it's funny how we all end up here, right? There was a few reasons that I got into NFTs. Mainly, I was doing digital marketing consulting prior to Web3, and there were enough respectable people from that industry that were leaving their successful businesses in Web2 and going all in on Web3 and NFTs. And that really made my ears perk up and I said to myself, I think I need to take a few days and just really read as much as possible, watch as many videos and podcast interviews as possible, and just see whether this NFT thing is worth jumping into, because these guys are a lot smarter than me. I really respect them, and they're doing it, so maybe they know something that I don't. And yeah, sure enough, I think it took like 48 hours, and like I was sold. I was like, oh my god, NFTs are the future.
That sounds about right. 24 to 48 hours and you're hooked. So who did you really start with? Who did you watch on YouTube, or maybe some type of group on Twitter?
Good question. I was terrible at Twitter, man. Like, because Twitter's not a big thing here in Australia, so everyone was saying you got to get on Twitter, and man, it did not make sense to me at all. But yeah, I actually found Zeneca, who's quite a famous influencer. I know he hates that word, but I listened to a podcast interview with him, and Australian accent, and just I liked his vibe. I liked how laid back he was, and I just thought this is the guy I can start with. This is the guy I can kind of learn and sponge off. So he had a free Discord at the time, and yeah, I just jumped in and just did everything I could to learn from him, which is, I'm really thankful I found him. So we've grown to be really good friends, and
that's awesome.
Yeah, he helped me. I almost lost all my money investing in NFTs, and then he really helped me like kind of start investing a little bit smarter. And yeah,
that's amazing. I mean, obviously profits are amazing in the NFT space, but the relationships and the connections you can build here are almost just as profitable, so to speak. So that's awesome. Yeah. Very cool. I've actually personally never talked to Zeneca, but I know he is a definite prominent figure in this space. So that's definitely a good person to learn from. Personally, I went the Alex Becker YouTube route, complete degen, just spent 24 hours basically on YouTube watching all of his videos. But what was the first NFT you bought? How much did you start with in the space? I know you talk about turning basically 0.6 ETH into six figures. So at the time in dollar amount in USD, how much was that? What made you choose that amount? And yeah, what were your first NFTs?
Yeah, really good questions. I started with 0.6 ETH because after I did that kind of week-long deep dive into NFTs, I said to my wife, okay, this thing looks really important. Like, we should need to get into this. And obviously, like, a liquid JPEGs, like, she was trying to wrap her head around it. Right. And so I said, we need to come up with a figure that we can invest. Obviously, I will be doing the investing, but it's our money collectively, my wife and I. And that essentially, we're happy to lose all of it, right? Because it was a massive gamble. I was still so new to the space. I'm like, we need to pick a number that is a good testing number. So if it works, it works. And if it doesn't, it doesn't significantly alter our lives because we haven't invested more than we should have.
Right.
And so 0.6 ETH, I think, was about 3,000 or 4,000 Australian dollars at the time. I can't remember exactly what it was.
And what month was that?
That was October.
Okay, so that's when you joined.
Yeah, that's
when I joined as well.
Yeah, perfect. So that was like just after like an NFT bull run, so it was kind of like a bad time to join. But then I don't think there's any coincidence that a lot of people join just after an NFT bull run, right? Because that's where you hear more success stories and people get more attracted to making money in the space. Exactly. So yeah, I started with 0.6 ETH. that was kind of the strategy behind that amount. And I learned very quickly that your bank balance very much dictates what kind of investment strategy you should have, because it turns out people make a lot of money buying really expensive JPEGs and then selling them for a lot more expensive, and then that doesn't quite correlate to the lower tier JPEGs.
Right.
And so I was buying a lot of stuff on secondary, for 0.05 and 0.1, thinking that I would get the same kind of gains that these guys were getting, in the really expensive price bracket, and it just doesn't happen the same way. And that was a big learning curve, big lesson to me. But I think the reason why I got a bit more of a following on Twitter and got a bit more, I guess, quote unquote fame in this space is because I turned that 0.6 ETH into about 40 ETH in profits, and then I was lucky enough to get a Moonbird as well, and so we saw that almost hit 40 ETH as well. So
that's crazy. Don't get me started about Moonbird. I didn't get picked.
And so it was, at the time I didn't think it was anything special, because I think you're always comparing yourself to other people, and I was lucky enough to know some pretty big whales, and I didn't think like getting up to 40, 60, 70 ETH was anything that special really. But then people were saying, oh no, you've done pretty good starting with 0.6. I mean, like, I knew it was a good return on investment, because turning anything above 100% investment in investing is insanely good, but this is NFTs. This is completely crazy. Like, all of that, normal metrics go out the window, right? So super happy with what I've been able to achieve. And I guess that's why I've started my YouTube channel, is because I'm trying to pay it forward. I only got to where I was because other people helped me and educated me and took the time to really help me understand NFT investing. And I just want to pay it forward and do the same. And so now I'm sharing as much knowledge as I can.
Yeah, that's awesome. YouTube channel. And you're launching a free pass soon, right? Yeah,
that's right. So I think I talked about meeting guys like Zeneca, and I was lucky enough for him to introduce me to some other incredibly smart people, incredibly smart investors. And it was these guys that really changed everything for me, because when I was trying to do it myself, I just kept failing. I just kept losing money. I really didn't know what I was doing, even though I thought my strategy was sound. And it wasn't until I kind of got held by the hand by these experts where things really started to change.
Right.
And I was able to start making way more profits, way more plays. I learned all these different skills, not only just like getting whitelists for hype projects, but like learning how to like free mint, learning how to degen and like get on stealth mints early, learning how to snipe rares, like all of these different skills that an investor can have that can really make a difference and turn your bankroll quite big quite quickly. Because that kind of happened to me, I was just always thought, how can I take that same thing that happened to me and try and apply it to an NFT project and try and help more people from it? And that's where I came up, with my project idea, which is the NFT Expert Summit. So I'm bringing in all those guys that helped me, as well as like a dozen other expert traders that are some of the best traders in the space. And they're all coming to teach everybody, in these one-on-one classes, that their skills and their strategy around how they go about making money in NFTs. And to me, I just think it's such a no-brainer kind of thing, because instead of trying to make it by yourself and trying to figure out how to make money, it's like, no, just come and learn from the guys that have already done what you're trying to do. Absolutely. Ask them what they did wrong. Ask them what they wish they would have known when they were starting out. Ask them about what key skills to work on, to make the biggest impact on your bank balance and your biggest impact on your bottom line. And so, I was really stoked when I came up with the idea. I reached out to all these guys, and it's a free mint, by the way. So I thought, as far as a free mint goes, like, this is insane utility. These guys are coming in, they're going to literally share their trade secrets. And
right.
I mean, depending on what time you're watching this video, either mint might be over. So the only way to get in on that is to buy the pass on OpenSea.
How many is it going to be? How many passes?
It's going to keep it really low supply. So I'm just finalizing the supply now, but it was really important to me. I didn't want like thousands of people in the Discord, because then you're not going to get your questions answered. You're not going to be like rub shoulders with these, expert traders. So I wanted to keep it really low. We haven't actually finalized the supply yet, but I'm sure if you see the link in the description below and go to the page, it should be there.
That's one of the things I absolutely love about YouTube, and just meeting other people in the space. It really sometimes can be so simple as just learning a little piece of information here or there that just takes you to the next level and transitions you from being someone who maybe isn't profitable at all to extremely profitable and then making a lot of money in the space. So that's
what was it for you? Like, if by curiosity, like what was like that one thing that you learned that you're like, oh, I'm never making this mistake again? And like,
well, so the thing for me is actually before I got into NFTs, I was already a day trader for like 4.5 years. So I had a lot of market understanding. And so you mean like the biggest lesson I learned?
Yeah, I guess what kind of triggered you with a key learning or a lesson that allowed you to start profiting more from NFTs? Yeah, for me, it was like once I learned how to read charts, for example,
yeah,
that just made a huge difference with how much money I was making. And same thing, once I learned how to do these DJ and these stealth mints, like, because I never knew how to do that, but once I learned how to do it from guys that were experts in it,
right,
man, all of a sudden it became so much easier just to bank like 0.2, 0.5 profits every day.
100%.
And that just opened up like a whole new world for me.
That's a really good point. You just said bank 0.2, 0.5 profits. And that's what it is. That's how we get and accumulate these big numbers, right? We're just accumulating small little, we're not making like an ETH or 5 ETH every day.
Yeah.
These like gradual little plays are stacking on top of each other and allowing us to reinvest those profits into new projects. And I know you use NFT Nerds, right? NFT Nerds is my go-to. I'm on there. I have a whole separate screen just with NFT Nerds.
Yeah, same as me.
But I think the biggest thing, the probably biggest light bulb moment for me, which I kind of learned as soon as I minted my first project, was flip everything, basically, because most projects, you know, a couple weeks from now, let alone a couple days, maybe at zero, they're not really going to exist. So for me, it was just flipping projects, but also knowing when the best times to flip them was, and that's obviously by using tools like NFT Nerds and being able to analyze the data, look at the charts, see where resistance and support is and stuff like that. But probably take profits. And like I always say this, I have this on my pin post on Twitter, flip till blue chip, and then reinvest it into something that's more established in the space.
Yeah, the problem is when you flip and then you think you're flipping something that's not a blue chip, like a lot of my mates did with Azuki.
See, I actually held Azuki.
Yeah, see, you did well. That's the thing. Like everyone was like, oh, this Azuki thing, it's not going to be a blue chip. It's not going to hit like 25 ETH, 30 ETH. And then sure enough, it does.
Yeah, funny enough,
Goblin
actually,
Town as well.
Yeah, Goblin Town was a whole nother beast. That was wild. And it's still going on. I think Azuki was actually one of my biggest learning lessons. Like, goes to show how fast things can happen in the NFT space. You know, one day the floor price for Azuki was like 40 ETH, and then something can happen like a simple Twitter post as Zagabond made, and the floor price drops below 10 ETH. So I think that was a huge learning lesson for me, because I think my Azuki alone plus my beans at one point were worth like $175,000.
Yeah.
And that turned into not that very quickly, right? So I think that was a big
ETH
lesson.
price crashes at the same time.
ETH price
so
crashes.
Like,
yeah. So it was just a double-edged sword, like all the way around. So I think that was a good like recent learning lesson for me. Like really, I wanted to hold my Azuki for the connections, as we talked about. Relationships are really important in this space, but it was just a reminder like how fast things can change in the market and why it's just always a good idea, more or less, at some point to take profits.
Yeah, knowing the right time to sell, as you said, is just so important, because I think you can sell at the top of a local top and profit really well, or you could sell at the bottom of a local bottom and like actually lose money on the same project. And so two people can look at a project and be like, oh, I hate that project, I lost money on it, and the other person can be like, wow, I love that project, I made so much money on it.
Yeah,
so that really made a big difference for me personally when I started learning how to read charts and use tools like NFT Nerds and look at volume metrics and listing metrics. I started making a lot more money then.
Being able to read the charts, just like look how the data is playing out, is invaluable for sure. Gives you a massive edge in the space. But speaking of the NFT portion, what was your first like profitable mint? Like what was your aha moment in NFTs that was like you made a certain amount of money and you were like, oh my God, why am I not doing this full time?
Yeah. There was two kind of things that happened like really similar. I think they even happened on the same day. So one of them was this project called NFT Worlds, was a free mint.
Oh wow, yeah. Okay.
And I think everyone knows this because it hit like 20 ETH at one point. I did not hold it to 20 ETH, I'm telling you right now, but I minted, and back in the day before we had whitelists, we just did massive gas wars. And so I had no idea what a gas war was. But NFT Worlds minted, it was free. I thought, great, like I'm gonna mint this for free. And I clicked the mint button on my MetaMask, submitted. Turns out I spent like $2,500 minting this NFT, this JPEG file as my first, one of my first mints.
Wow.
And like, I was just in shock. Like the color drained from my face because I had no idea that a free mint could cost that much in gas when a gas war was happening like this. Thankfully, I minted a really rare world.
Oh, wow.
So even though the floor price for these NFT worlds was quite low for a long time, it was like 0.1 or 0.2 for a long time, I was able to sell that NFT world for 0.69, and I made a profit of about 0.2 or something, and I was able to do it within 24 hours. Oh, but I remember I couldn't go to sleep that night because I was just like, I've lost so much money, like what have I done, like this is a disaster.
On the worst
and, like, I had it listed for sale. I didn't think anyone was going to buy it, and then someone bought it, and I got that amazing OpenSea email that we just love getting, like, and yeah, I was just over them. That was one of the things that just made me go, yes, like this is doable. Like someone just spent $3,000 buying a JPEG off me.
Right.
There's clearly people doing this. So that was a lot of conviction there. And then, yeah, there was just another little bit of like artwork. I think the alpha group that I was in said, quick, let's buy it. And like I scooped one on secondary for 0.1, and I think I sold it for 0.2 less than an hour later. So at the time that was like $400 or $500 Australian dollars. So I bought a picture for $500, and then an hour later sold it for $1,000. And
yeah,
I sent the picture to my wife, and it was like, I just made $1,000 in an hour. Like this is crazy, right? Yeah, so to answer your question, that was kind of like the two big aha moments that really got me hooked, I guess. Yeah.
So obviously the market has changed a lot since then, since October. You mentioned like there weren't a lot of whitelists then. I remember most of I think my first like 3 to 5 mints were just, you could mint as many as you want, and a project was successful if it sold out in like 2 or 3 days.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's changed so much since then. So I mean, in the current meta, what would you say is like your strategy for making money in these types of markets, especially as things are crashing and coming down?
My strategy's still the same, is just surround myself with other smart people and learn from them and get their advice. Like I just think it's crazy to try and do this stuff by yourself. And so
yeah, definitely.
None of us know individually what's going to happen, but when you've got a group of people and you've got a really tight-knit community of people that have your back and want the best for you and all have their own individual hypothesis around what can happen, like it's much easier for you to then take that and kind of decide for yourself. So at the moment, like the bear market's pretty bad, but at the same time, like yesterday I minted the thing for free, and a little like artwork thing that someone in my Discord just posted about, and then like the floor hit like 0.6 ETH within like 15 minutes. So
amazing. Which project?
Yeah, I actually can't remember what it's called. It's called like 3 EV or something. I don't even know.
Okay.
Yeah, amazing. Like this is meant to be like the worst time for investing in and the bear markets across the globe with the war and stuff that's going on. And yeah, you can mint something for about, I think it costs like $16 in gas, and then sold for 0.6, which is what in Australian dollars it's like nearly $2,000. So incredible gains are still there to be made minting these derivatives and selling these derivatives. Like I'm not doing much of it right now because I'm working so hard on this project that I'm launching, but a bunch of my friends who I've made money with over the last year are still doing it and still making good money. So
it's degen season, bear market, free mints, degen mints. That's actually all I've been doing for the past 3 days. Bunch of goblin derivatives.
Yeah,
I don't know if you heard of Goblin Girls.
I woke up this morning and that was all that was happening in my Discord and on my Twitter feed. So I was like, yep, of course this is a thing, a derivative of a derivative thing.
Yeah, it's been crazy though. I mean, like Goblin Girls, I picked up a couple of those at like 0.03. They hit 1 ETH last night. Then like Goblin Kids, they ended up hitting like 0.3 ETH. It's just so ridiculous, but it's amazing. It's funny how like the opportunities that are here that are just like the most random stupid mints versus projects that have been like around for a while. They've got like hundreds of thousands of followers and they're just flopping. So I think that just goes to show that there is always opportunities depending on the market cycle. You just have to learn to adapt and surround yourself with the right people who are better in one part of the market than another, who can say, hey, yeah, you might not be able to make profit here, but if you come and do this, what I've been doing, like you can make profit here. So that's why it's definitely good to be in a group with a bunch of like-minded individuals so you can help each other ebb and flow through the different market cycles for sure.
Trying to learn off people that done what you're trying to do or currently doing what you're doing is just like the fastest path to success for me.
Is there anything else that you want to say? Anything else we should know about the pass? And when are you planning on dropping that pass?
Well, we're recording this on 3rd of June Australian time. I think it's like the 2nd of June for you, but yeah, it's all happening in the month of June. So the mint date is yet to be exactly determined, but once we mint, we're going straight into the summer, straight into the classes. And then once they're all done and finished, anyone who holds that pass gets to access all the recordings, all the notes and summaries from all the expert traders. Personally, I think it's a no-brainer, even if you're watching this video like a year or 5 years from now and you're just getting into NFTs, like hopefully the pass is available and hopefully it's from a bunch of people that are a lot smarter than me and make my gains just like look minuscule in comparison.
Amazing. Are you guys going to do like streams, or are you guys going to have it like structured where there's going to be a library, kind of like a course, I guess? Or is it going to be a mixture of both?
Right? So yeah, which is really cool. So people will be able to join in live and ask questions live, but then the library will be there as well for holders.
Amazing. All right. Well, thank you so much, Liam, for being on, taking the time. It was a pleasure to get to learn more about you and speak to you. It's awesome to talk to other people who are absolutely crushing it in the space, turning a little into a lot. I hope you continue to crush it. I look forward to seeing what you do with your pass. I'm definitely going to try and get in there. So yeah, thank you for coming on.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.